Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the 360 Sports Show. I am Andrew Pizzelli. He is Christian Lauber, and thank you for finding us here on a Tuesday night. No need to adjust your television sets. Normally on Mondays, but hey, thus is the sports landscape in today's day and age. Reschedule, shifting schedules, and we wanted to make sure, especially after the weekend that was, that we brought you the show at full strength here this week. So here we are on a Tuesday. Thank you for finding us. And you can reach us anytime throughout the live broadcast in the comment sections of any of the live streams or by emailing the360sportshow at gmail.com. So with all of that out of the way, Christian, it was an absolutely bananas week in the NFL. Once again, I think super wild card weekend, kind of a dud, a lot of blowouts. Divisional round, the complete opposite. Thrilling games in every single matchup, and we'll just go through them in order. We'll start with Cincinnati at Tennessee. We'll pick kind of through each of these games a little bit, but I guess to start with was this game, the Bengals pulling out their second playoff win of the year. More about good Bengals or bad Titans?
Tough question. A little bit of both, I'd say. I mean, getting sacked, what was it, 9 times, I think, for Joe Burrow? Not ideal. At some point, he's got to learn to throw the ball away. He's still a young guy, though. So I can't take away credit from the Bengals. I mean, I think, in order to beat the Titans team, you have to show up and compete because they're going to. Unfortunately, they don't really have the quarterback, which I thought might kind of bite them in the butt. But I didn't think it would come at the hand of the Bengals. I'll say that. Maybe next week against the Chiefs or someone like that when you're trying to go up and down the field. The Titans defense does fly around and they're pretty good. But I don't know. I think Joe Burrow is pretty impressive and he's going to be here for a long time in this division. So he's an exciting guy to watch. And overall, I think it really came back down to Tannehill. He makes a boneheaded play to start the game, a pick, and then to end the game again. He's not the guy, and they paid him a boatload of money, and it's just, you kind of reap what you sow there.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the one thing, Joe Burrow did throw the one interception, didn't throw a touchdown, but 28 of 37, 348 yards, quarterback rating of 93.1. He didn't do anything crazy, but he also didn't cost them the game. And you look across the other side at all the money being paid to Ryan Tannehill, and them basically saying, now we're going to roll with Ryan Tannehill instead of, they were a team, hey, did they want to go after Tom Brady?
Yeah.
And his performance, 15 of 24, 220 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, and as you said, 2 of those just in back-breaking picks, boneheaded, quarterback rating of 66, total QBR of 10.4.
Yeah, 2 polar opposites again. I mean, Tannehill makes the pick, and then Burrow, it's not like he was, super instrumental throughout the game in terms of throwing touchdowns all over the place, but he made the play down at the end of Chase. It was not a super difficult pass, but he still made the play.
Yep. Yeah. And making the plays when he needed to, right? Which we expect rookie quarterback in the playoffs. It's like just don't lose us the game. And Joe Burrow didn't do that. And so now they've kind of gone through 2 games here where, he had to perform in this game. He kind of had to more manage. I do think the bigger story is what are the Titans. I mean, it's great. I love the Cincy story, but I think the bigger story is kind of like the Titans now. It's like 3 years, you make the AFC Championship game. You make the playoffs last year, disappointing. The number one seed, bleh. And I don't really know what they can do. I mean, nobody's going to trade for Ryan Tannehill. Unless you pull, what the Texans did with Osweiler, where it's like, we'll pay you, Cleveland. Please take him. So they're going to be stuck with him. I mean, he's making it's like $46 million is his dead cap hit. Something insane.
Yeah.
I can look it up here. So they're going to be stuck with him, and I think he's holding them back. I mean, I think if you're Vrabel, at some point, I think they really like him, but it's like there's going to be pressure to win more, and coaches yeah. Sorry, I misspoke. His dead cap hit number this past year was $57 million.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Or no, for next year. Sorry, because the NFL does their it's just by 1 year. You don't carry over. So yeah, already flipped to 2022. His dead cap hit number is $57 million. His cap hit overall is $38 million. I mean, the only teams that can take that, they're not going to be going after Ryan Tannehill. They want Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. They don't want Ryan Tannehill. So
right.
He's
look
stuck
at the quarterbacks
there.
across the division too. I mean, if you're the Titans, what do you have? Look, Derrick Henry was not right in this game. That was pretty clear from the get-go. He was obviously not going to be able to carry the load. And it was all very apparent, especially in that fourth and, I don't know, was it yard and a half?
Yeah.
There at the end of the game. He was not right the entire game. He had plates and screws in his foot. So, but you're relying heavily on Derrick Henry. And with Tannehill as your quarterback, you can probably manage it if Derrick Henry's running the ball 25 times. If Henry goes down, you're going to lose to every other team based on the quarterback. And that's the most important position in the sport. And maybe in all of sport is the quarterback position. And you're behind the 8 ball on all those top teams. I would take Josh Allen over him. I would take Joe Burrow over Tannehill. And I would certainly take Patrick Mahomes over him. So those three who are now in front of you going to the next round, going to next week, still playing, they're going to have the edge, and they're going to have the edge for a long time because all those guys are young.
Yeah, I want to see if I can pull up on Spotrac quarterback contracts and look at some of the guys that are in the neighborhood here for Tannehill. All positions. No, we just want the quarterbacks. They make all the money. So here is the top quarterbacks by, where is it? Annual average. So, Mahomes, $45 million a year. Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins. Carson Wentz is making 32, Matt Ryan 30, and then Ryan Tannehill technically making 29.5. But practically speaking, what the cap hit number is going to be for him next year at 38, that puts him in the top 4. Ryan Tannehill is not a top 4 quarterback. Not even close. So they're going to be one of these teams that now is kind of stuck, unfortunately. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them in the offseason. Obviously, Cincy moving on. We'll talk about them when we do our picks at the end of the show. But let's move along now to the next game. Try and pick our way through this because I know there's some of these we're going to spend a long time dissecting. The other game on Saturday night, San Francisco Road Warriors pulling out the upset in the snow in Lambeau Field.
Yeah, you
again,
asked me the same question on this one. Go ahead.
I'm going to ask you the same. I'm going to ask you the exact same kind of question. Is this win more about the Niners or more about the Packers? And specifically, if you want to even go deeper, Aaron Rodgers.
The answer is the Packers. This is all about the Packers. I mean, look, the 49ers made plays on special teams and everything, but it shouldn't even come to that. I mean, it's the same old story with Aaron Rodgers. It's just this is why you cannot compare the guy to Brady, even Manning, I would say to some extent. He he didn't even look like he cared. I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading too much into that, but it's year after year I see the guy in this spot where he's like clearly the best team, should be going to the Super Bowl, should be trying to win the thing, and should have a really good shot at it. And once again, he drives them right down the field to start the game, 7-0, and you're like, okay, here you go. This is going to be the week the 49ers get blown out. Sure enough, they kind of punch him in the mouth and they just kind of wilt away as per usual. The Aaron Rodgers factor is huge. He has like the most home playoff losses in NFL. It's just like every year he gets set up. Okay, home field, you're good to go. The Super Bowl goes through you, and they get beat every single year, and especially this year. I picked them to get to the NFC Championship because that's what they usually do, and then they fall out. But I mean, look, it's just like I understand the 49ers had to make plays, but Jimmy G was not great in this game. He kind of flat out sucked, to be honest, until he needed to make some plays, and he went like 5 of 5 in the fourth quarter and made a play.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers on the other side just can't do it. And I can't help but notice his just facial expressions of just, woe is me. I don't really care that much.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy because you saw at the end, the Packers had like 3 cracks. It was like, okay, if you move the ball here, you can close this game out. Okay, no. Okay. All right. It's a tie game. You move the ball here, and you can get to overtime. Nothing. Okay, well, you're down. Can you make a play? No. The fact that, I mean, Aaron, of all the years, too, I mean, your defense played great, and the offense only put up 10 points. Not good enough. I'm sorry. For people want to say, Aaron Rodgers, he's the bad man. 10 points is not enough. I'm sorry. You want to be
also
held.
Never does it.
You want to be held to a higher standard than the guys who you're trying to chase come up big in big spots. And guess what? Even in games where it's not going, I get it. It's a blizzard. Things. Maybe the Niners had a good. I mean, like I said, you shut down Devontae Adams, and yes, you have Aaron Jones, but I don't. I don't think the Packers had enough on offense. You still have Aaron Rodgers, who could have made more. I expect them to put up more than 10 points. And like you said, is it just being complacent, and is it just being like resting on laurels? And I mean, he was very cryptic after the game, but cryptic, but also like Tom Brady was cryptic. We'll talk about that. Aaron Rodgers was more just like, dude, you are under contract, but was speaking about like not being here. Like, yeah. We all think he's gone. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Does the guy want to win? He's probably going to be MVP. It's between him and Brady. Probably going to be MVP. And it's like, he's felt the last few years like a guy that's happier to get the MVP than to go get another championship. Because he has one. He got one. But like you said, anybody who wants to compare him to Brady, Manning, heck, you want to compare him to, you can't even put him in the same class as like John Elway. If you're trying to rank quarterbacks, is he a phenomenal athlete and quarterback talent? Yeah. But like you said, the no-showing at home with like one of the best teams in the league, it's happened too often. And he's been bad in those games and in those moments.
Look at all the other guys in the league too. It's like you look at guys like Brady, you look at guys like Patrick Mahomes. They overcome all the stuff that Aaron Rodgers goes through, and he's the only one that can't come through. And look, the 49ers are legit on defense, and they have probably quickly becoming one of my favorite players in the league is Deebo Samuel, which hurts to the core because he could have been here or somewhere else if people, look into the talent. He does everything, but their defense is legit. They fly around, but you cannot tell me that Aaron Rodgers can be at Lambeau Field in the snow. It's freezing cold. They're coming from San Fran, and it's just like, you're going to put up 10 points?
Yeah.
You have a chance to go to the championship game in the Super Bowl again this year, and that's what you put up? I just like, is it all on him? I guess not, but look at the other guys around the league. Josh Allen, Mahomes, they all are putting up these huge numbers. They're all fighting for it, and I just feel like he's the one.
And when the money's on the
table,
when the money's on the table, And we've seen this with all those quarterbacks, Manning's, Brady's, all these guys. Heck, even Ben Roethlisberger. You're having a bad game. It turns
Yeah.
into, hey, this is not going to be we're not at some point. Josh McDaniel said this about the Rams Super Bowl, the second one. At some point, you realize we're not putting up 30 today, so it's just about getting a drive, and winning the game or whatever. And it's like as that game went on, it became apparent that Rodgers was not going to get it done. Colin in the comment section, I didn't pick a single upset last weekend, sadly, but picking the Titans was the pick I felt the most uneasy about. Having said that, I think the Chiefs are going to blast the Bengals, unfortunately, and also saying that Rodgers' legacy is not getting it done in the playoffs after his first Super Bowl win. Most efficient yet unaccomplished quarterback next to Marino. Yeah,
True.
true. It's unfortunate. Because the guy is insanely talented. There's things only he can do on a football field, including lose at home as the number 1 seed.
Classic. That's a pass. This is his favorite pastime is losing.
And yeah, I mean things that he had no control over. The worst special teams play probably in history from Green Bay. I mean, the last field goal attempt, they only put 10 guys out on the field. Like,
I mean, that's just
not that you're gonna. I mean, hey, a block happened in that game. How many block kicks happen in the same game, even from between both teams? What are the odds of that? But it's like you also didn't even give yourself a chance in the snow. Maybe it's a lower trajectory. One of those linemen gets his hand up. Nope, you decided to only put 10 guys out there instead of 11.
Yeah.
It's that sort of. Those are the sorts of lack of attention to detail from teams that cost you playoff games and championships. Is this it for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay? Have we seen the last of him in Lambeau? I think so. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I would be shocked if he ends up back in Green Bay. And also, if you're Green Bay, time to move on. I mean, I don't think you have the guy in Jordan Love, but yeah, time to move on from this guy. I don't know what else to say. I mean, what do you want to do again? Do you want to just put together, let's run it back? I mean, do you risk losing guys like Devontae Adams? Sure, but at some point it's just going to be turned over anyway. So I don't know. I would move on if I'm Green Bay, and I sure as hell think Aaron Rodgers is done.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds like a guy who's ready to leave. And I think right now, while you have teams that are willing to give you something, we both agreed on the show he should have been gone last year. What were they joking around with, trying to bring him back? They ended up restructuring his deal and giving him more leverage, and it didn't work. And so guess what now? If the Denver Broncos want to give you some first-round picks, have at it. Take them. And even if Jordan Love isn't the guy, you go through one of these kind of reset years, and there's plenty of pieces there around to reset things. And the Packers, I mean, they're one of these organizations that I think they're not going to go into complete turmoil.
It shouldn't, yeah.
So, Colin also says, "Did you hear Rogers today on your inferior competitors podcast?
Appreciate that, Colin.
He was patting himself on the back for fighting through adversity this season and feeling proud of himself. What a joke!" Yeah,
this is the other part of the Aaron Rodgers show that I cannot stand. I just can't do it.
Yeah, the off the field stuff with him it's not worth the time.
Aaron Rodgers loves himself some Aaron Rodgers. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Yep. It's the other side of the guy that you're going to have to put up with now.
Notice how it's always other people too. It's just never on Aaron Rodgers. It's never like he has problems with his family. It's never his family. It's always about me. It's not about them.
Yep.
Or maybe I said that backwards. I don't even know. But he just loves himself some Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
You think he just sits at like the kitchen sink or something like that and has a mirror there, just eats breakfast with himself and he just like plays cards with himself and it's
you think Aaron Rodgers is a big solitaire guy?
I think he's a big solitaire guy while watching him play too. He has to watch himself play. It's just such a I don't know. It's just so interesting. He's just such a
he's that guy playing chess against himself.
He's just a character. I don't know.
Yeah. Some people are very happy that he got eliminated to not have to hear from him for the rest of the season, unless you want to tune into some other shows. But yeah. Last point on this game and about these teams. Are the 49ers the 2007 Giants? Are they these just road warrior team that got hot in December? That's the comparison everybody's making this week. We'll get into whether or not they're going to win this week later on. We're picking the teams, but I kind of agree. I picked them again this week. They've got there's a something there with this team and winning in multiple ways, winning with defense and just the balls bouncing their way. Are they this sort of team of destiny right now?
They appear to be. However, I'm not there yet because I don't know. The Rams on the other side. Look, we'll get to it, but they on paper, if they play up to their level of play, they should not lose to anybody, I don't think. Maybe Kansas City, but outside of that, that team is just loaded, and you saw it this weekend. But I'm not there yet, but I do think it's kind of rolling that way. They're winning on the road. They beat the Packers on the road here again. I want to say they're in top five, maybe in passing defense and maybe run defense. I don't know. I could have that wrong, but they've been in that conversation all year long, kind of sneaky. Nobody really kind of put them there. And because, I mean, look, the quarterback, I love Garoppolo, but he's not even like, I don't know. He's probably top 15, maybe top 10 if you want to squeeze him in there. But I'll tell you this, all the guy does is win. I mean, he's 35-14 in his career. So, whether Kyle Shanahan wants to put it in his hands is a question. But when he does, he seems to come through, at least in some spots. But I like the 49ers defense. You don't think of them as like this stout defensive team, but really they're good. They fly around. They have a bunch of fast guys at all levels, and they have a good mix of aggression versus not, and they can do a bit of everything on that side of the ball. So, and also they just have that, like, they have that weird thing. It's a special teams block that gets them into the next round. It's just like one of those years that it seems like everything is coming up 49ers. And where does it end? I guess either in a win or you go home maybe this round, but you still have to get through two teams, and one of them is the Rams, and the other is probably the Chiefs, if I had to pick.
Yeah. Who, obviously, I think it's 6 games in a row they've beaten the Rams, including most recently, they were down 17-0, rally back to win, to make the playoffs. So that matchup is going to be interesting, which we'll discuss later on in the show. Moving on to Sunday's games. The games on Saturday were obviously thrilling and compelling, and they both ended on field goal, last second field goals. But the games on Sunday were like Madden level. Like, try and tell me we don't live in some sort of simulation after watching those games. Like, absolutely bananas football. So we'll start with Tampa Bay and the Rams, where, I mean, the Rams basically should have won that game by 30 points. And they did everything in their power to give it away. And still, they were winning and in control with like 7 minutes to go. But as everybody on the broadcast, as anybody watching said, if there's a guy who could lead you back from 27-3, it's Tom Brady. And he did. I mean, there's a point, and both teams still, like, it was like nobody wanted to really take control. Oh, the Bucs got the ball back. Oh, pick. Okay, that's going to seal it. Oh, nope, they snap it over Matt Stafford's head.
Yep.
Okay, they're not, with the time left, there's 3-something minutes to go. They got to go like 80 yards. Oh, Brady throws a 70-yard bomb to Mike Evans.
Against Jalen Ramsey, no less.
And eventually, which at that point, people were like, is this game rigged? Like, why would they play that coverage? Like, is this the fix in here on this game? So eventually it gets tied 27-27. The Bucs fight all the way back, improbably, aided by some Rams miscues. They tie the game. And then I'd say things that characterize the late stages of both this game and then the KC Buffalo game is just poor situational defense. The Rams get the ball back. It's a tie game. They need a field goal. There is time. They got one timeout. Matt Stafford runs a draw, fumbles the ball, luckily holds onto it. They take timeout. Okay. No timeouts. There's 20-something seconds left. What do the Bucs do? We saw this at the end of the Cowboys-Niners game. Hey, you know what? Just play the box defense. Play the sideline. Let them catch it in the field of play. Run, rally, and make a tackle. Time will tick, 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 tick. Maybe they get 2 plays. Maybe they get 1 to midfield and they get a Hail Mary. But it's 2 plays, basically, in that span of time. Instead, they play straight up. They let Cooper Kupp get outside leverage and get out of bounds. Even though he joked afterwards, he's like, I think I got out. Don't know if I did. But they granted him out. You, allowed that to happen. Even still, there's, I don't know, 18 seconds left. And they decide to, force the issue for no reason. Hey, let's blitz. Let's bring the heat. And then let's not cover Cooper Kupp. And let's have the guy it was a blown coverage on top of that, too. And let's, in the end, have our worst cover guy be on Cooper Kupp, totally uncontested down the field. It's why you bring the heat there, it makes it an easy throw. He's trying to get the ball out quick anyways. You're just giving him a pitch and catch in a one-on-one. Why? Yeah, you get there, you sack him, we go to overtime. You look like a genius if you're Todd Bowles. But why? These are the things that separate. People talk about Brady and Belichick and do they need each other? You know for a fact a Bill Belichick coach team and most well-coached teams, and it just doesn't have to be Belichick, but any other good situational coach would say, we're just going to play the GFTB defense.
Yeah.
Or GTFB. Just get back,
That one.
protect, and rally. Situational, smart, and we play on.
Basically, you tell your guys, keep
let's go
everything
get
in
a
front of
sack, and this is going to be awesome. It's I was rooting for the Rams. I wanted the Rams to win that game. But now I was so fumed.
You're a sinner, you know that?
I'm so fumed because Brady makes that epic comeback, and then the defense goes out and then does that. It had me aghast until the next game, which we'll get into. But just completely mind-boggling play call for me from Todd Bowles. I get it. You're trying to make a play. Totally unnecessary. And shocking. Totally shocking.
I don't think anybody truly understands, unless you go back and look, how many chances the Rams gave the Bucs. Because just watching the game, every mistake the Rams made, it's not like Brady ran it right down the field and got him into the end zone every time. No, I mean, they fumbled once, I believe. But, the third quarter, it's like the Rams get the ball, they punt. 3 plays and they punt. You're like, okay, here we go. This is shades of 28-3, except it's 27. It's even easier. And then the Bucs come out and then they punt on 3 plays. But they kick a field goal and it's 27-6. The drives beyond that is the Rams fumble it on 1 play. Then Brady goes and scores a touchdown down the field to, I believe, I can't remember who it was to, but I think it was Fournette run in. So they get a touchdown.
Yeah.
Then the Rams punt. Then the Bucs come out. They're down 27-13 at this point, and they fumble it. It's just like the ball is on the ground all the time.
Yeah, they're playing with the greased pig.
Yeah, exactly. The Rams get it, and they immediately fumble. And so you're like, okay, here we go again. And then the Bucs go 5 plays and punt it again. Turn it over on downs. Then the Rams miss a field goal from
47.
47, and he misses it
short.
15 yards short. It's just like that at that point I was like, okay, there's got to be some type of screen up that's just blocking that kick, because this is just, the script is in. I mean, it's just like, what is happening here? How do you kick a 47-yarder short?
In today's
that made
league.
No sense. Yeah, exactly. And then the Bucs get it again, and they go turn it over on downs. The Rams come back and they punt it back to Tampa. So all this whole sequence, Tampa has endless amounts of time to just get back in this game, and they couldn't do it. And then sure enough, they punt it away. Brady gets the bomb to Mike Evans. 2 plays later, fumble again. It's just the Rams just decided that they were going to let them come back, and we're going to go to overtime. And then, of course, Bruce Arians and Todd Bowles over there are like, we got one for you, too. Let's send Winfield on the MVP of the league almost this year in one-on-one coverage. Not only that, Winfield starts running forward like he's going to blitz. And then he just gets burned. And the game's over on a field goal. Wild.
Insane.
That was just the second half.
It was like a Madden game. Like I said, you don't see, what was it? I mean, in both games, and we'll get into the Chiefs-Bills games, but it's like all the points scored in the last 2 minutes. It's like, this doesn't happen in the NFL. This is like, it's turning into the last 2 minutes of an NBA game, where it's like, oh, no. There's 0.4 seconds left. That's the time enough to get a shot away. It's like, what is going on?
I just want to put like a punching glove on my remote so I can just bash myself. Watching these coaches try to decipher what they should do next, just it gives me a migraine just watching it. I couldn't even keep it straight. It was punt, fumble, turnover on downs, fumble, punt, field goal. Punt, fumble, fumble, fumble. It's just like the ball's on the ground the whole second half.
It was insane to keep, because all of the swings, you're like, oh God, okay, that's it. They turned it over on downs. Oh, it's over his head. Like,
yeah. How do you
cue the Benny Hill?
Just those two plays. You snap it 20 yards over Matt Stafford's head, and then you kick a field goal from 47 yards short. In like 60-degree sun. It just makes no sense. It's not like you're in the Windy City out there. It's like Tampa Bay. You're on the beach practically.
No, absolutely bonkers. In one of those sequences was the turnover on downs, I believe, was the 4th down play where Mike Evans got hit up in the chops. What is your feeling on that play and the way they correctly officiated the play? The ball has already hit the ground. He gets hit after the play. Unnecessary roughness, but it's a dead ball. The ball has technically already been turned over on downs. They called it correctly. Do you like the call? Do you think that should stay that way? And if not, what do you do about it?
I don't mind it only because the ball was kind of, I don't know. It was kind of, it was after the play was over, in my opinion. Now, if the ball was still in the air, maybe it's different, right? But because it was a dead ball, they call that, and they call it right. I mean, look, I don't mind this one all that much. Like I could do without the 50-yard pass interference penalties anyway. And this one was kind of after the play. He wasn't going to catch it after the ball got batted down anyway, and the guy came in and hit him unrightfully. But they got penalized for it, kind of. I mean, they were already down there at the end zone, but I don't mind it all that much, only because it's not like the ball was in midair and he was about to catch it and then he got drilled before the ball got there. So I don't mind it all that much.
I'm fine with it. At first, I was like, that's ridiculous. And the more I thought, I was like, wait, we're upset because it was 4th down. If that was like first, second, or 3rd down, the penalty results in the Bucs keeping the ball. 4th down play, that the ball's already turned over. And, it doesn't feel right because you say, well, a quarterback can be roughed well after he's gotten rid of the ball and a play's over. I just think if you try to start now, we complain about officials having to make judgment calls and how it's so difficult, and we just want to try and remove that. Here's something where it's cut and dry. The ball's hit the ground. The play is over. It's not like it was a bad call where it's like the ball didn't hit the ground. He still hit him.
Exactly.
It was clear. It was obvious. And that's where else would you draw the line? Well, there has to be an element of time after the play has ended, and now we get into this whole gray area, which I don't want. We don't need to give the officials more gray area. So, and in the end of the day, that did not cost the Bucs anything.
This was Hockey's game, right? I mean, I could do without Hockey altogether. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Seeing that guy, he loves television time.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, that one play did not cost the Bucs. They had plenty of other chances, and they did plenty to hurt themselves later on, as we know, with the defensive play calling. So keep as far as that rule goes, keep it the way it is. We do not need to give the refs any more things to sit there and ponder over. So leave it alone.
To me, that one's pretty cut and dry. I don't even know how you can argue that. I mean, it's like the ball is a dead ball. That's it.
Yeah. The problem, everybody who was rooting for the Bucs, argument with it, it's like it was 4th down. This would be a non-issue if it was
Exactly.
third down. Yes, you would keep the ball. Duh.
Was this the
Um,
game where they kept kicking it out of bounds too
yeah.
on kickoff? Jesus, I mean, it was just this game was wild. Stupidity all over the place.
Yeah. It was like a game of runs. It was like
Wildly
all
entertaining.
Rams, then all mistakes, then all Bucks, and then it was just like who wants to
I'll tell
win?
you what.
No one.
I don't remember a weekend like this
I
where
still
I was
expected him to shank that kick at the end too, the game winner.
100%. Yeah. For the first time in a long time, I feel, even with the NFL, I was glued to the TV for most of these games. I mean, they were all very, very good, and it kind of makes me think we already got like the championship games because
What's going
this
to be
weekend
better?
could be a dud. Yeah, I don't know.
Last thing about this game, and it revolves around Tom Brady. Obviously, he was cryptic after the game. He's kind of been cryptic in his responses afterwards. It seems like he's going to, obviously, it's like what all these guys say at the end. Going to take some time, not going to think about it now. He's going to think back and reflect. Personally, I think a guy like that, I don't know if the comeback changes it. Because I think if they got blown off the field and it was 37-13, I think Tom would be fumed and would be like, that is not going to be the way my last game goes. And would quite literally just want to go through a whole nother year to get back to the playoffs, to at least not end on that note. Improve that, because there would be people saying, well, Tom was bad in that game. And I think how he goes out matters to him. He makes the comeback, and then it's really not his fault that they lose that game at the end. So I do think he's just going to weigh everything. I don't think he's done. My only question is, he might not think he's done, but is Tampa going to be the place where he can win still? And does he want to uproot himself and go to another team? Who would be those possible teams, if that even was a thing? Your thoughts, Christian, on the future for Tom Brady?
Yeah, I disagree a little bit. I don't think. Look, everybody has this fascination with guys getting championships and walking away, which I want to say it happened for Elway, and outside of that, it does not happen very often. So I don't think Brady and
he wants ring or bust, but I think how he played at the end of that game, he brought them back. I think that's gonna. I just think he wants to be playing well. I think he wants to have a good game.
I don't think all that matters. I really don't. I think when it's time, it's time. I think he will come back ultimately. I don't know if it'll be with Tampa. I think there's some kind of spitting match between him and the ownership and Arians, and who knows what's going to happen there. I mean, Arians already said, "Yeah, I'll be back," but does Tampa want him back? Does Brady want him back? Who knows? Who knows with that situation there? So, could Brady play somewhere else? I find it completely plausible. I still have the 49ers in the back of my head, like they're going to come back on their mistake, and Jimmy's going to be gone from there anyway. He's going to sit in front of Trey Lance or something wild like that. And he's from out west there. So I could find it completely plausible that he plays somewhere else. I don't think he's done though. I think maybe, I don't know, is he 44 now, 45?
He'll be 45 in training camp.
Yeah, so I think he's probably got one more, and I would say he's going to be true to his word, 45, and that's it.
Yeah. I think if he were to leave Tampa, because Tampa's not necessarily in the best spot, like what you said, there could be coaching upheaval, the roster construction could start to get sideways, and he may say, if I want to try and win one more, do I go somewhere else? As of right now, him willing to go somewhere else and kind of establish himself, I think only two teams make sense that he could go to play one more year. One is San Fran, and the other is back to New England.
He's not coming back to New England.
I'm not saying I'm not saying that would happen, but that's the only, I think, aesthetically, I think that's the only thing that you could do. It's Tampa, it's San Fran, because of all the storylines we've already laid out previously, or it's to come back here and make amends, make one more run with Bill, and
no
you know
shot.
what I mean? Hey, weirder things have happened.
I don't know if it gets weirder than that.
I wouldn't be stunned to see it happen.
Oh, I would be.
But I put like a 1% chance on it.
I think you're like 1% off. I think it's 0%.
I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility. Now I have no idea if the Patriots are interested in that, if Belichick would be interested in that. I
No.
think I think it's almost like LeBron
Kraft
James.
would be.
He went to Miami and he was like, all right, I come back to Cleveland. I wouldn't be shocked because I don't think he's not going to go to Tennessee. Come on, you're not going to see. Then that starts to turn into like the Brett Favre thing, like hanging on too long. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
think he's towed the line perfectly. Obviously,
I think
performed.
Tennessee would be a great spot for him though.
It would be, but I can't see him. Would he go to Green Bay? He doesn't want to play in the cold anymore. I don't know. I don't know. Though Colin explained Brady would go to Tennessee and put up with Vrabel before coming back to Belichick.
I agree with that.
That's true. That is very true. I mean, that was part of the reason people thought it could have happened in the first place. Instead, he chose Tampa because they wanted to stick with Ryan. Hey, straight up swap trade Brady for Tannehill.
Who's doing that?
You'd have to throw in a whole bushel of picks for the Bucks to rebuild. Colin also says Todd Bowles' job is going to be in jeopardy, right? And that Tom is showing hesitancy to come back to leverage the Bucks into firing at least Todd Bowles, if not also Bruce Arians. Hot take. We'll see. I don't. I hope it's not the end. Like you said, glued to the TV. I had schoolwork to do, but I was like, this could be Tom Brady's last game, and it was an epic comeback. At the age of 44, diming it up 70-something yards. Manning wasn't doing that at the end, and he's played 5 more years than Manning.
I mean, he's played as good as he ever has. I can't imagine it'll be it. But
he would be going out on top, at least in terms of his game. Obviously, he said his dream is to do it with a Super Bowl. That's obviously harder to do. We'll have to just wait and see. I do think part of this probably factored into why we didn't get episode 10 of Man in the Arena, because maybe they thought, hey, win the Super Bowl and we can walk away and have it be like a retirement like type deal. It's like announced.
Didn't he have a show the Eagles year, and he had it planned out that they were going to win and they lost, so he postponed it. So Tom
versus time. And they delayed and then altered the final episode of that. I liked all the jokes that they had to scrub Antonio Brown out, so that's why production got pushed. It's like Stalin. They're scrubbing people out of old pictures. Nope, Antonio Brown never exists. So
Antonio Brown's a whole separate issue.
Yeah. They did miss him though. The Bucks 100% missed him and Godwin, for better or worse. Moving on. Second insane game of the day. Again, like a game of Madden. It does not matter. Tony Romo said it on the broadcast. It's like, oh, I won the game. Oh no, wait, no. There's 3 seconds left. I can do something. Buffalo and Kansas City, an absolute duel between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. I mean, pretty much flawless quarterback play, especially in the fourth quarter.
Did the better quarterback win though?
25 points in the final 2 minutes, like a game of Madden. I've never seen a final 2 minutes of an NFL game like that. And like I said before, it's like the end of an NBA game where you're given fouls and it's like, hey, there's 0.4 seconds left, still time for a shot. We can tie this thing up. Your initial reactions before we get into some of the details of this game where I think the Bills should have won and the things they did wrong that cost them the game.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about a guy that kind of stepped up and did something we haven't really seen him do in a big spot is Josh Allen. I think he was the better quarterback of the two, not by much. They were both ridiculous in this game. But if you ask me, I think I'd take Josh Allen as the best player in the field. Again, not by much over Mahomes, but he got it done in this situation. And of course, McDermott or Bill Burr, whatever his name is, and the Bills defense collapsed again at the end. I guess not really again, but they did collapse, and that kind of hurts you. Now, and they did it in overtime too. They didn't even get close to stopping them, but we all knew that was coming, right? Whoever got the ball in overtime, we can mention that rule. But Yeah, overall, I mean, you go down and score a touchdown, and then in 13 seconds, you give up a field goal. I have a tough time with that, and the coaching decision at the end to not squib it and waste some time. It's just the coaching mistakes here by these teams is just unreal. I think they just get too caught up in it and get overlook things or something. I don't know what it is, but 13 seconds, there's no way they should have allowed Kansas City to march down the field and get a field goal. I'm sorry, there's no way.
Yeah. It comes back to the same thing that happened at the end of the Bucks game. It's just situational awareness. Hey, there's 13 seconds left. I mean, all the credit to Josh Allen. I mean, unbelievable. It was like he thought he won the game and had to keep coming out like 3 times to go win it again, and did. And I felt so bad for him and the Bills because of just how that went down. And like you said, 13 seconds. Okay. Squib it. Option 1. Maybe, obviously it puts the ball in play. They could just take a knee right there. Wherever you squib it to, maybe you do give them, something. Maybe the ball is at like the 30 or the 25 anyways, and maybe only a second or two comes off, but that's a second or two. Other option is to kick it in the air. And yes, a guy can run under it and fair catch it. But you'll take 13 seconds if the guy fair catches it at the 5-yard line. And odds are he's being told, listen, if they kick this short, return it. Because with 13 seconds, we'd rather have one shot from like midfield and a chance to for a Hail Mary with Pat with Mahomes' arm than nothing. Than trying to go 70 yards to get a field goal, which obviously you probably wouldn't have time for. Just kicking it out of the end zone and giving the ball to 25. And at that point, you only need 40 yards. And guess what? You just saw what Mahomes did with Tyreek Hill. They could get that in one play.
Yeah.
And then to not even cover Travis Kelce. Giving him playing off the ball, playing back, and just giving him the inside, just giving him what Mahomes wants is to just complete a quick ball over the middle to the tight end. It's the simplest, easiest throw in an offense. And you just, in that situation, 2 things you could do. Straight up just double Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and put safeties and say, listen, if he wants to throw to some other guy, he's going to have to do it late, and we're going to try and make a tackle. Or option B, which you could get into the competitiveness of this, with 13 seconds left, you could literally just hold. Pass interfere, hold it, tackle everybody at the line of scrimmage. It's going to take time, and who cares about 5 yards if you take 8 seconds off the clock?
Right.
You could do it. Teams have done it. We've seen John Harbaugh do this. Won a game by holding for 20 seconds and then taking a safety. Because the game can end on a defensive penalty. They could, all right, we accept, or on an off. It was that was the other way. It was offensive holding. So yeah, you'd extend the game, but at least you could kill time. I don't know. Just straight up not playing defense was a horrible strategy for both.
Yeah,
of those
I don't
teams.
think that'll ever be a good strategy in any situation ever. They just need to do something different there.
Absolutely insane. And again, that's the attention to detail. Even kicking it out of bounds, but you come out and the defense was just, you could say, prevents you from winning, but there is a time for it. When a team has no timeouts, you defend the sidelines, you come and make a tackle. Instead, they just decided to play like straight up man coverage. Mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling.
Yeah.
You mentioned it, Christian, because part of the storyline after the game, and Chiefs fans love the overtime rules now, as opposed to a few years ago when it was Mahomes who didn't get the ball in overtime in the AFC Championship. Does the overtime rule need to change? And if so, what should it be?
I would say I side on yes on this. And I think if you want to leave it in the regular season to sudden death or whatever, then maybe you have a case. In the playoffs, I think you just play 10 minutes until the game ends. So you just play straight through, especially in a playoff scenario. It's just like the NHL is different. You score 1 goal, anything can happen. It's sudden death. But in the NFL, it's like I don't know. It just seems weird that one team gets. Now, look, I know you have to play defense, but in this day and age, who can stop Patrick Mahomes? Who can stop Josh Allen? Who's going to stop each other that night? Nobody after like the third quarter. They scored 25 points in 2 minutes. It was ridiculous. So, whoever get the ball in overtime there was going to win it. I was hoping it would be the Bills. Just kind of funny to see the Chiefs fans go nuts again, but I think it does need to be changed in some way. Like I said, regular season, sure, that's one thing. Playoffs, I think you play the 10 minutes out and see who wins at the end of it. Now, obviously, you can't tie. You just play 10 minutes until it's over. But both teams should just play straight through. It'll allow for more, I don't know, scheming and kind of a different feel. It'll be like the fourth quarter all over again, kind of.
Yeah, I agree. I think regular season, keep it the way it is. You want to have those games be decided and move on to the next week. I would be fine in the regular season if they just went, if it was just, it could have been regular sudden death like it always had been. Any points, first person to get any points wins for regular season games. I think for the way it is right now, it's fine. When you get to the playoffs, like if the Bills if they just played an extra 10 minutes of football and the Bills lost or the Chiefs win in those extra 10 minutes, they're not going to be sitting there complaining, I mean, I'm glad we won and that we're going to the AFC Championship game, but it sucks, man, that we had to play 10 more minutes of football. Yeah. No, they're gonna be psyched that they won. And the team that lost isn't gonna give a hoot. If you feel like it was a straight up, extra period, a hoot. And I'm with you. It's play. But this was Belichick's proposal a few years ago. Just play an extra 10 minutes. Because guess what? Like you said, all the strategy stays the same. Your game plan stays the same. And hey, if you get the ball first and you hold the ball for 8.5 minutes and you go down and kick a field goal and give the other team no time, that's just football. It stays football throughout the whole entirety of an overtime.
This is always the same conversation with like the NHL and the shootout. Should it end by shootout? No, it's got to be changed in the playoffs. Change it in the playoffs if you're the NFL and allow just play the 10 minutes out. Teams can hold on the ball for 10 minutes and score whatever you need to do, sure. But just play the 10 minutes out. That way both teams get a chance to possess at least.
Yeah, Christian, what we'll do is we'll put the ball on the 35. They kick a field goal from there worth 4 points. But if they elect to go from the 50-yard line, it's worth 3 points. So that would incentivize driving the ball.
We should just have people on lawnmowers with targets drive across the field, and whoever hits more between Mahomes and Allen wins.
Yeah, or actually, you just start taking, if you go down and score a touchdown, the other team, gets the ball, but they get to pick a guy off the field. No, but okay, next series you flip a coin. Next series you don't get to have this player.
Yeah, exactly. Or they fly in at Hockley via helicopter, and then they have a WWE ring come up from the turf, and then the two mascots fight to see who wins.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. That'd be really fun.
That's my idea.
So yeah, we're in agreement about what they should do with that rule. And this comes back to everything we discussed with the NFL and rules. Fans want it.
I love rules.
Players want it. Probably won't happen.
Yeah, probably not. Wishful thinking.
Absolutely. So we have other things. There's still other football-related items that we can get to, but we do have some other things to discuss. But now, since we've been talking about these games for a while, we're going to get to our favorite segment of the week, which is Hot and Not.
Hot.
It's time for Hot.
Hot.
You want to talk about hot?
Hot.
Please stop doing that.
Doing what?
Continue. Go ahead.
And not.
God, is he a moron? Oh my God, he doesn't shut up.
It's so stupid.
Stupid decisions.
Dum-dums. The naughtiest knot of the year.
Oof. Suckfest. Suck sauce.
On the 360 Sports Show.
All right, Christian, hot and not. I will let you lead things away. What is on the hot list for you this week?
Well, we're already in the NFL. I could have gone 4 ways with this, but I just went with 2 guys, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. The end of that game was ridiculous. The 2 of them were playing out of their minds, like quarterback battle like that. And even today's NFL is just wild to see. You have 2 MVP caliber quarterbacks at their peak. Just ridiculous. The other 2 honorable mentions was Deebo Samuel. I think he's just an outstanding player. And Gabriel Davis, who almost took the ankles of a Chief during that game on one of those touchdowns. He was also phenomenal.
I'm gonna go with kind of the same, but kind of more generally for on the hot list this week is just the NFL as a product as a whole. I mean, next level entertainment. All of those games are the reason why people, including myself, love sports. Unscripted, we hope, drama, last second field goals, back and forth madness, and just the games just progressively got crazier as the weekend went on. After last weekend was a whole bunch of duds, so just 4 games of just top notch entertainment. Had to put it on the hot list. Runner up, if I was going to pick something specific, is Stephon Diggs absolutely destroying the fan who ran onto the field at the Chiefs game.
Yeah.
At that point, the Bills are losing, and Jim Nantz is like, whoa, Stephon Diggs just took out some frustration.
Yeah, I think he was probably getting doubled most of the time, but that was his memorable moment from that game.
Yeah. So turning the page the other side, what is on the not list for you this week?
Yeah, I think just again with the NFL, the way it was this weekend, that's just going to be all over this list. And it's just the coaching in the NFL. How many dumb mistakes or teams, if you just want to say teams in the NFL making dumb mistakes, the Rams, the Bucks had a few. I think every team almost had one. And it's just everywhere. You just can't get away from the dumbness of the coaches, especially at the end of games. You want to say, I don't know, what was the best moment of the weekend? It was like there was a million of them. Cooper Kupp, the MVP of the league, basically. If you were to pick a wide receiver catching a ball at the end of a game with 13, or the Chiefs driving 13 seconds, it's just you gotta figure it out here, coaches of the NFL.
I agree. I mean, there were some other things that I was thinking about putting on here. We're actually just going to discuss one of them later, so I left it off, and I'm just going to agree with you. What led to a lot of the madness that we all enjoyed was just some dumb, idiotic play calling in bad plays. Chiefly Todd Bowles. Like I said, I'm still fumed. I don't understand with the team with no timeouts backed up why you decide that was like. Remember a couple years ago, the Raiders brought an all-out blitz against the Jets?
Yes.
Oh, no, it was the other way around. The Jets brought the all-out blitz against
Just
the Raiders.
stupid. Yeah.
And it was like, what are you doing?
Classic.
And we see that with bad teams. We're seeing this from presumably good teams and presumably good coaches. Todd Bowles.
From all of them, yeah.
Good luck in your interviews now the rest of the year, if they even still happen. So those guys, all those dumb play calls on the not list for me. Yeah, just stupid is as stupid does. As Bill Belichick likes to say, players win games, coaches lose them. And you can point to the Bucks and the Bills and say, I think coaching lost those games.
Yep.
Directly. You can say that. So, anywho's. Pushing along, we will be picking the NFL games this weekend. Just 2 games on the docket. But a little bit of news today. You know, we're doing the show on a Tuesday, so we're able to get to this as opposed to our normal time on Monday nights. Sean Payton stepping down as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. I don't blame him with that roster construction. Hashtag no QB. And their cap sheet, I would be willing to walk away and call it quits too. Is this the end for Sean Payton, or will we be seeing him sooner rather than later at the helm of another team, Christian?
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he went and got a TV job or something somewhere else for a year, and then came back to a more contender style team. I would give him a head coaching job if my team was like, I want to say a quarterback away. How about a coach away? Because you just can't get it together. Maybe, I don't know, pick a team. But I would not be surprised to see him back in the NFL. I think he's going to stay in football, I would guess. So whether that's TV or if he just take a true year off, then I would not be surprised if he's back in 1-2 years in a contender style job.
Yeah, I mean, there was talk of teams interested in him the last few years, one of these like trading for the coach. Dallas interested. Chicago interested. Jerry Jones has come out they were like right away like, we're standing by Mike McCarthy and his staff. Okay.
Until Sean Payton became available.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, things always change. Always in motion is the future, said a wise man once. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him in the league this year. I really wouldn't. It's like all these guys, and I'd say more likely than not, he takes a year off. He goes and does TV just to get his feet wet in that and sits back and kind of sees how some things settle. I think, hey, Denver would be an interesting spot if they get Aaron Rodgers.
True.
Seattle would be an interesting spot if Pete Carroll retires and Russell Wilson is undecided what's going to happen. Well,
Yeah.
you're
100%.
bringing in Sean Payton. Now I want to stay in Seattle. So who knows? He could sit and just kind of wait and see where the dust settles and go somewhere a year from now. But that was the news of the day until Major League Baseball and the Hall of Fame, as announced by the Baseball Writers of America, announced that just one man making the Hall of Fame this year. Rightly so, David Ortiz going to the Hall of Fame. However, Bonds, Clemens, Schilling, shut out once again. Is this... I know the answer before I even ask. Is this good for baseball, Christian?
I could do without the baseball, the prestigious honor of being a baseball writer of America. The whole thing is just such a sham.
Saying such a thing, you'll never get your membership now.
Oh no. What will I ever do without baseball BBWAA or whatever the hell it's called? This stupid thing. It's just a bunch of old guys that are pissed at steroid users. That's basically all it is. And some are pretty good. But Dave Ortiz should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know how you can say anything else. I just all-time DH leader in home runs and RBIs, 10-time All-Star, 3 times World Series champion with a team that hadn't won it in a million years, 7-time Silver Slugger, Red Sox single-season home run record, Hall of Famer now. The guy is just unreal. He was a monster in the playoffs in any situation that you needed him to come through. Most notably that in I think it was 13, the grand slam against the Tigers. It's just he always comes up in key spots and gets it done. That guy to me is a Hall of Famer no matter what. He won 3 World Series with a team that hadn't won it in a million years.
Yeah. I mean, as a DH, really, I think now that he's in, it's going to allow more DHs to have candidacy and shots to get to the Hall of Fame by playing that position. But like you spoke about, I mean, there's stats, but then there's the winning aspect of it too with Ortiz. And it's like, we talk about, hey, there's only one guy who could lead you back from 28-3. There's only one guy who's going to come to the plate, but there are a few. But like in that moment, David Ortiz steps to the plate, bases loaded, you're down 5-1. You're like, he's hitting a home run. And not only that, he did it off Joaquin Benoit on the first pitch.
Yeah. And he had never homered off from before that.
No. And you just, I mean, he comes to the plate and just has that just an absolute dead look in his, it's like looking into the eyes of a shark. And yeah, I mean, moments you'll never forget, clutch moments, one of the greatest clutch hitters in postseason history. Obviously deserving. I kind of don't know how to feel about these other guys. I mean, it's one of those things. It's you get initially why like they're trying to like shut these guys out, but guess what? If you're gonna shut them out, then you should just strip all of their records. But they're not doing that. So if you're still gonna hold up this record, that record, this record, those guys accomplished, then put them in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame.
I think that's hypocritical. Yeah, you're going to like hold people to their records, but then not put them in the Hall of Fame. Why? Because you're like you said, you're just mad at them for being steroid users. Probably the only reason that sport even made it through the 90s without falling apart is because of steroids. None of those guys will ever admit that.
This
But
is like this is like the highbrow writers that I just can't like. I almost put this on my not list. Dan Shaughnessy, one of the local guys. I'm sure he's really worried about it, my not list, but he would be on my not list because he just like he just comes off as such a prestigious a-hole sometimes. It's just like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, I think, should be in the Hall of Fame. That's just my personal opinion. I believe those two guys should be in the Hall of Fame with steroids, without steroids, whatever you want to say. Those two guys should be in my personal opinion. And I'd even be close on Alex Rodriguez as well. He's not even close, but he's another guy that would be in for me. Like, it's just like, get over the steroid thing. There's going to be something in every area. You're going to not put one of these pitchers or one of these great of all time pitchers now because of spider tech and crap. They're all doing something. It's just, you cannot. What do you get for shutting a guy out that broke the home run record because he cheated and all this other stuff? I don't know. It's just, to me, that guy would have been in without steroids had he done them or not. I look at Barry Bonds and I still think he was a great hitter no matter what. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
If you're gonna hold him out and you're gonna hold, well, he cheated, then vacate the record. You can't have both. You can't say this guy has the record for all-time home runs and also say, no, we're not putting him in the Hall of Fame.
They're going to die on that hill, though.
No
cheaters in my Hall of Fame.
To transition here to our last few notes that we'll get through quick before we do picks. Christian, normally this is where Colin might tune out of the program. The Boston Celtics right now lead 63-30 at halftime.
Who's scoring for the Celtics right now?
Tatum. Brown and Tatum have 44 points on 16 of 27 shooting. 11 rebounds for Rob Williams at the half. They hold the Kings to 1 of 20 from three-point land. Yikes. Obviously, it would be very much like the Celtics team. We're recording this on Tuesday. Podcast listeners on Wednesday could be listening to this right now being like, oh my God, if only they would like do the show for another hour and a half to hear the Celtics collapse. Yeah. That's what like Instagram Live is for. Yeah, Colin, right away. Shamrock, peace. So anyway, your thoughts on this little run here from the Boston Celtics most recently? Obviously, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they've had all these discussions. We talked about this last week, trying to make it work, figuring out how to play better together. Marcus Smart having a big half tonight. Could also be one of his last games in Boston. He's now trade eligible. Your thoughts around the way this team's playing and if it bears anything that they should do going forward. We both agree there's going to be moves. But your thoughts on the last week now as we tick towards the trade deadline for the Celtics.
I hate being a little bit positive about the Celtics because it's just
dirty, don't you?
So in my nature to just like absolutely dump on this team. But there's been something just doing the eye test. Okay, there's something brewing with Tatum and Brown duo, in my opinion. I think those two guys. I don't know whether it's the coach now kind of coming into his own here midway through about or what it is, but those two. I think Tatum was slumping in terms of shooting, but he's doing different things. He's going to the basket a lot more this year. Whether he's getting to the free throw line, the game has kind of changed again in terms of refs calling stuff this year. So maybe that has something to do with not getting to the line as much. But he's rebounding, he's getting to the line, and he's getting a few assists here and there that the eye test tells me he's not doing in past years. And Jaylen, I think, gets better every year, and it's just those two are kind of playing better off of each other. I don't know what to equate it to. Maybe they both realize that it's time to kind of let's do this every night and get it in gear so we're not under 500. But now it just looks something in the last, 15 games. They've had a couple duds, don't get me wrong. But in my eyes, I could definitely be wrong. I usually am.
You do wear glasses after all.
Yeah, that's true. Usually when I watch them, I don't wear my glasses, so that could be part of the problem. But I just think there's something different about those two in particular. And look, stars in the NBA, you know what happens when you have stars. And those two are kind of, maybe it's a push towards the All-Star game. We'll see after the All-Star break, I guess. But
true.
It just looks a little different right now.
Yeah, that's what's actually. You make a good point, Christian. They both saw that they are not all that high in the All-Star balloting, and they're like, "Oh no,
Something to
we
worry
gotta make
about.
the All-Star team." I think the best possible thing for both of these guys would be to not make the All-Star team. Hey, guess what?
Yeah,
You thought you arrived last year. To remain an All-Star, you must play like an All-Star year round.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't know what's necessarily gotten into them. They've had some of these big wins, but I still worry. If they go anywhere with the losses all have common threads of
Yeah.
late leads and poor execution and Ime Udoka talking after the game. Oh, it's on me to find call better plays and get into better spots. It's like, dude, it's like we're like 40 games in now.
Maybe he's got it going or got something going now though. Who knows?
Maybe, like last game, like putting it in Jaylen Brown's hands, like at the end of the game, it's like, whoa, that's not the guy to handle the ball at the end of the game.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
that? Hey, this is a weird kind of like flip of roles, Christian. I'm pessimistic because the team's playing well that they're gonna like this is some push to like keep it together
Oh,
and
God. Yeah.
and
That is not out of I don't know.
I've
That
wanted
is
to see
not out.
change. Hey, I mean, let's check. We said 1 of 20 from deep. The guy who I've wanted on this Celtics team from the day he was drafted till the day he's been in trade talks, I think Buddy Hield is the type of complementary piece that Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum need. Put a sniper in the corner for these guys to move the ball to. Now, the problem is you may have to give up Marcus Smart to get that. And I think Marcus Smart, when he's been your point guard, tasked with being the point guard, has been really good this year. And obviously Marcus Smart doing Marcus Smart things.
You know what I like from Marcus Smart tonight? He's 0 of 2. Perfect.
Yeah.
6 assists, 0 of 2, plus 34. That is Marcus Smart. Play defense, play offense, have a high plus minus. You don't need to shoot the ball when it's open, shoot it. Outside of that, if you can kick it to guys, play defense and rebound, assist a little bit, perfect.
So I don't know if this is one of these pushes. But the thing is, though, it's a push to do what? Obviously, we know Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum aren't moving. Is it a push to keep Marcus Smart? He came back the other game, told everybody, "I love you guys." But had this whole little "I love you" speech.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be in discussions. I think most likely you see guys like Richardson and Schroeder, if you're trying to go at just because of the numbers and the want from other teams. Those are guys that aren't like Celtics, that you could move.
I would not trade Richardson. I think he's a good piece.
Depends upon what they're interested in. I won't be like you said, I won't be optimistic about this team until I see, because I wanted to see some changes until after the All-Star break. How are they playing after the All-Star break? That's kind of been even the past few years where they've been playing well, they've come back from the All-Star break and just went into the playoffs.
Agreed. Yep.
So that's going to be the benchmark here, is how they play after that. I guess the other thing, because there's not that much else. I mean, we'll be discussing the NBA trade deadline is the 10th. We'll be discussing things. There'll be a lot more. There'll probably be moves that happen. We'll be discussing some stuff right around that time. We'll have to see when we do our post-trade deadline show, Christian, because that Monday happens to be Valentine's Day. And I'm not sure if our significant others will want to, maybe, hey, who knows at this point? Like, yeah, sure, go ahead. We don't care. So that may be a Tuesday show as well. But we will be giving you all of our post-trade deadline reaction at some point. So
my opinion could flip in a matter of months based on the All-Star game. If they suck,
matter of months, it could switch in an hour here, Christian. If the Celtics lose this game tonight after being up 33.
That's a good point. I will. I'm open to that. Yeah.
It's so wonderful right now. We know there's podcast listeners who thank you for finding us there on Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcast from, who are listening to this, who already know what happens in this Celtics Kings game.
Exciting for them.
Exciting for them. In the future, we're talking through time.
And if they lose, they can yell at us and tell us how wrong we were.
Write us. We want to hear from our podcast listeners. Email the show, the360sportshow@gmail.com. You can actually always hit us up in the DMs through any of our social media platforms.
Slide into
Slide
those
into
DMs.
them DMs.
Sports takes only, please.
Christian, I think you want to hit a little bit on the Bruins here before we get into NFL picks.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the cheese on this Bruins team. I said that last week. I'm just afraid to do so. I've been hurt too many times. Obviously, they had that run and a little bit more up and down here throughout the last week.
Yeah, I hope Rask gets it together because I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on this because they play too many games to really.
Yeah.
By next week we could be in a different spot. But
Rask has re-retired and is now golfing.
That would be nice. Yeah. I just think I wonder if they pick up a couple of these games with Swayman because I don't think Olmark's been that great since Rask has come back, and I don't think Rask has been great since Rask came back. So look, I think he has a long way to go. He hasn't played in half a season. I think people maybe thought he was just going to come in here and beat Tuukka Rask in the regular season. Not quite. He has not been great, and it's kind of hurting them, the goaltender play, and I just wonder if Swayman maybe gets them a game, especially when those two, before Rask came back, maybe that was part of it, putting pressure on him. But Swayman and Olmark were both going pretty well before Rask came back. So it doesn't look great, and obviously Foligno went down again, so they're kind of back to up and down here. A couple of bad games, a couple of good games. So we'll see. There's still plenty of time, but I would definitely still buy at the trade deadline.
All right. We will see as that approaches. Christian, after last week's action, dun 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 dun, I went 6-2. We gave 2 points per victory last week. On the show, I had gone back and forth. I eventually went with the TBD. I took the field versus the Buccaneers, which panned out. So I picked up points on you, and now, after 18 weeks, and after 2 rounds of the playoffs, we are tied 161 to 161 with 3 games to go. And maybe we do some additional, we discussed this last year, just picking the Super Bowl. Should we have some props on the Super Bowl game? But we'll have time. We'll have plenty of time to discuss that.
Oh, yeah.
This week ahead, we've got 2 games on the schedule, and we'll start with San Francisco at the Los Angeles Rams. Who wins and why?
Next week we get to pick the Pro Bowl. That'll be a good one. We should put like 120 points on that. Kansas City is going to win the game because they're better.
Kansas City's going to win the San Fran Los Angeles game?
Yes. Oh, well, why are we starting saying? Isn't the other game first?
I don't know.
You're confusing the crap out of me here because you went out of order.
Whatever. You're not paying attention. You're not listening.
I definitely wasn't, but also don't blame me for you screwing up the schedule,
I was the one. Fine. You want to start? You want to start?
Leave it to me. Leave it to me. I'll go over the games. I'll start it off here. All right?
Fine.
We're gonna go.
Fine. Hold on. Rewind. Let's do picks, Christian. 2 games on the docket this weekend. Let her rip. Let's go.
All right. Yeah, we're going. Welcome back. We're going Cincinnati at Kansas City. 3:00.
Oh my goodness.
I'll pick first. Kansas City is going to win this game.
Why?
I think they have. Look, I don't think Joe Burrow is ready just quite yet. He's still really young. He had a tough-ish week against Tennessee. I don't think it's going to be any easier on him. Maybe a little bit because of the way Kansas City plays, but Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense, once they get going, they're unstoppable. If the Bills let them put up 42, there's no way the Bengals are going to hold them down. Bengals are a nice story, though. Yes, Colin, I agree with that. But yeah, I just think the Chiefs are the better team, right? So both sides of the ball, really. But it comes down to one simple thing, and that's the Chiefs offense. I don't think anybody can stop that consistently for 60 minutes, and the Bengals are no different.
Yeah, I just think I've felt that the Chiefs were, once they got rolling middle of the year, we knew that if they got right, they're the class of the AFC. And obviously the Bills gave them the toughest test of the year. And I don't think the Bengals can replicate that. And I just don't know if the defense can keep up. And this is going to be a big spot as well as the Bengals have played and Joe Burrow has been composed. I don't think he's ready to go out there and put up a Josh Allen-like performance on the road in Kansas City. So I think it's been a great story for Cincy, but the story ends in Arrowhead this weekend. So we are in agreement with that. By the way, we wagered 2 points per game last week. Are we upping the ante to 4 points for this
I
week?
think we go 5 on these.
Ooh, 5. Ooh, alrighty. 5-pointer. From the opposing 3-point line. All right, next and last.
All right, so now the 6 o'clock game, because we go in order here on the 360 Sports Show, we're going to go with the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Scams.
I'll pick first here on this one. I just have had this feeling.
I got a feeling.
I've just had this feeling about the Niners. I loved the matchup with them against the Cowboys because you just could see it coming. Battle-tested team, up and down inconsistent team with talent at home that likes to choke. But happened. On the road in Lambeau, we said, hey, usually Aaron Rodgers gets to at least the championship round, but not out of the realm of possibility that they no-show. Obviously, they play like their worst game of the year. The Niners didn't play that much better, but when it counted, they made plays. They found a way to win. The ball is bouncing their way. They've won 6 in a row over the Rams. There's something to that. And I just think the team has got everything going for it right now. I've said it. Top 10 offense and defense by the numbers. And the Rams, who tried desperately to end their own season last week, I can't just ignore that and think that that's going to be cleaned up in a week at home. Also, are we going to get a team, after never having had it happen, host the Super Bowl in their own building 2 years in a row? So I'm also like rooting against that. And I just think that the Niners, at least to get to the Super Bowl, have something going for them. And I'm rolling with them. I like them over the Los Angeles Rams.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you weren't going to pick them, I was going to. But I'm going to pick the Rams because they are at home. They're blocking San Fran fans from getting in that building so they can pump in that noise. And I just think the Rams on paper, look, they almost blew it. They definitely tried super hard to give Tampa Bay the win. But overall, their team on paper is just ridiculous. And I have little faith that the 49ers offense will be held upright against Aaron Donald and Von Miller. So I will go with the Rams because I believe in their defense. And I think ultimately that's kind of what has to get it done is key stops in these games. Because a lot of offenses are high powered. Not that the 49ers are, but this is going to be a different type of game, I think, because both these teams like to muck it up on defense. So I will take the Rams just because it would be boring if I did not. And go Jimmy G. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, the world is against you, Christian. Last week with my Niners pick. Well, you'd be wrong. How them 2 points now? I did just see something that I want to bring to your attention as we wrap up the show here. If people recall, I made a mashup video for you as a Christmas gift of shanked doink field goals. Because both of us, from time to time, I'd say you more so than I, enjoy the Schadenfreude and seeing the suffering of others. Dan Wetzel just tweeted this out. On a dark, depressed morning in Buffalo, a group grief therapy session played out on sports radio. Quote, "This is never going to stop hurting." He says it's a must listen. So I'll send this to you. We will retweet this out through @360 Sports Show, and then we can come back next week and compare audio, because this is either going to go on the hot list or the not list, depending upon how it goes.
Fair enough.
But just had to work that in as something that I just saw come across the timeline, as it were. So if there are no other orders of business, I move to end this session of the 360 Sports Show, Christian.
Yep.
In agreement. All right. Good.
I got
over.
nothing else for you. That's all my thoughts. I only have so much brain power.
Get out. Go home. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So, all right. That's going to do it, folks. Thank you for those who found us here tonight on the live stream. Bit of an abnormal time for us, but we made it work. So you can rewatch the stream if you want on any of our social media platforms. Or if you'd like to take the show on the go, you can do so through the podcast on Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcasts from. Thank you to our podcast listeners as well. You can always engage with us on the show by emailing the360sportshow@gmail.com or dropping us. Slide into those DMs. Sports takes only, please. As Christian said. So that'll do it for us. I'm Andrew Pizzelli. He's Christian Lauber. Have a good night, everybody.